Picture a parched, dusty land in ancient Israel, where a mother's grief becomes a powerful act that shakes a king and a nation. Today, we're diving into a lesser-known but deeply moving story from the Bible. It's found in 2 Samuel chapter 21, verses 1 to 14. It's called Rizpah's Vigil, and it's about a woman named Rizpah, a king named David, and a time of suffering that leads to healing. This story is raw, emotional, and full of lessons about love, justice, and standing up for what matters. It's a tale that hits you in the heart, and it's perfect for anyone who's ever felt powerless but refused to give up. Let's step into this story and see what makes it so unforgettable. Our story begins during the reign of King David, Israel's greatest king, a man after God's own heart. But things aren't going well. For 3 years, a terrible famine has gripped the land. Crops are failing, people are hungry, and everyone's wondering why. David, being a man of faith, turns to God for answers. He prays, asking what's going on. Why is this happening? God's response is heavy. The famine is a consequence of a broken promise from years ago, during the time of Saul, Israel's first king. Here's the backstory. Before David's time, Saul led Israel, but he made some bad calls. One of them was breaking a treaty with the Gibeonites, a group living in Israel under a peace agreement made centuries earlier with Joshua. Saul, in a fit of zeal, attacked the Gibeonites, killing many of them and violating that sacred promise. Now, years later, the land is suffering because of this injustice. David knows he has to make things right to end the famine and restore God's favor. So, David calls the Gibeonite leaders to his court. "What can I do to fix this?" he asks. The Gibeonites don't want money or land. They want justice for the blood Saul spilled. They say, "Give us 7 of Saul's male descendants and we'll execute them as atonement for what he did to us." It's a harsh request, rooted in the ancient idea of blood for blood, but David agrees. He chooses 7 men from Saul's family, not his close friend Jonathan's line, but others, including 2 sons of Rizpah, a woman who was once Saul's concubine, and 5 sons of Morab, Saul's daughter. This is where Rizpah enters the story, and it's where things get heart-wrenching. Rizpah was a woman who lived in Saul's household, a concubine, a secondary wife with less status, but still part of the family. Her 2 sons, Armoni and Mephibosheth, are among the 7 chosen. These are her boys, her heart, her everything. Imagine her pain as she learns they're to be handed over to the Gibeonites. The Bible doesn't say if she begged or cried out, but any mother would feel that gut punch of helplessness. The 7 men are taken to a hill in Gibeah, Saul's hometown, and executed by the Gibeonites. Their bodies are left hanging, exposed to the elements, a common practice back then to shame enemies and satisfy justice. It's a brutal scene, and it's meant to signal that the debt for Saul's crime has been paid. David likely hopes this will end the famine and bring peace. But for Rizpah, it's not over. Her sons are dead, their bodies left out in the open, and she refuses to let that be their end. Rizpah does something extraordinary. She takes a piece of sackcloth, a rough mourning cloth, and spreads it on a rock near the bodies. She sets up camp right there on that hill, day and night, under the scorching sun and chilly nights. She's not a queen or a warrior. She's a grieving mother, but she's determined to protect her sons' bodies from birds and wild animals. Picture her alone, waving off vultures by day, shooing away jackals at night, her eyes red from crying, but her resolve unbreakable. This isn't just about her sons, it's about their dignity, their memory, her love. Weeks turn into months. Rizpah stays there through the harvest season, from spring to fall. When the rains finally come, she's not shouting or demanding anything. Her quiet, steadfast vigil speaks louder than words. People in the area start to notice. Word spreads about this mother who won't leave her post, who's guarding her sons' bodies against all odds. It's a silent protest, a cry for respect, and it's impossible to ignore. Eventually, news of Rizpah's vigil reaches King David. He's moved, maybe even shaken. He realizes this can't go on. Rizpah's act forces him to see the human cost of the justice he agreed to. These weren't just names or debts to be settled. They were sons, loved ones. David acts, orders the bodies of the 7 men to be taken down. He also goes further. He retrieves the bones of Saul and his son Jonathan, who died years earlier from another place where they'd been disrespected. David gives them all a proper burial in their family tomb in the land of Benjamin, honoring their memory. With this act, the story comes full circle. The famine ends, the rains come, and the land begins to heal. The Bible says God heard the prayers for the land after this, suggesting that Rizpah's vigil, David's response, and the proper burial helped restore balance. Rizpah's quiet strength changed the course of events, turning grief into a call for dignity and justice. So, what's this story about? It's not a typical Bible tale with miracles or battles, but it's powerful in its humanity. First, it's about love and loyalty. Rizpah's vigil was her way of saying, "My sons matter." She couldn't bring them back, but she could protect their dignity. It's like a parent today fighting for their child's memory, or standing up for someone who's been forgotten. Her love was her strength, and it spoke louder than any speech. There's also a lesson about justice. The Gibeonites wanted retribution for Saul's wrong, and David agreed to it. But Rizpah's act showed that justice isn't just about settling scores, it's about humanity too. Her vigil reminded everyone that even in punishment, there's a need for respect and compassion. It's a challenge for us. When we seek justice, do we consider the human cost? Do we balance fairness with mercy? Another takeaway is the power of quiet persistence. Rizpah didn't have a platform or power, but her steady, faithful presence on that hill moved a king. It's like those small, consistent acts today, writing letters, showing up for a cause, or just refusing to let something be ignored. One person's resolve can ripple out and change things. And let's talk about David's response. Could have ignored Rizpah or dismissed her as just a grieving woman, but he listened and he acted. That's what good leaders do. They see the pain in their community and respond with care. It's a nudge for us. When we see someone standing up for what's right, do we pay attention? Do we let it change our actions? This story fits into the bigger picture of 2 Samuel, where David's reign is about uniting Israel and seeking God's will, even through tough choices. Rizpah's vigil shows that God sees the overlooked, the grieving, the powerless. Her story is a reminder that God's heart is with those who suffer, and He can use their actions to bring healing. Today, Rizpah's story hits home. We all know what it's like to feel powerless when life's unfair or when loss hits hard. Rizpah teaches us that even in grief, we can act with purpose. Maybe it's standing up for a loved one, advocating for the marginalized, or just refusing to let injustice slide. Her vigil says that one person's love and determination can make a difference. And there's hope here too. The famine ended, the land healed, and Rizpah's sons were honored. It's a sign that God hears the cries of the brokenhearted and works through them to bring restoration. When we feel stuck in a dry season, this story says God sees us, and our actions matter. Rizpah's vigil is a hidden gem in the Bible, short but heavy with meaning. It's about a mother's love, a call for justice, and the power of standing firm in the face of loss. It challenges us to honor those who suffer, to seek justice with compassion, and to trust that God sees our pain. If you want to read it for yourself, check out 2 Samuel, chapter 21, verses 1 to 14. Think about it. What's your vigil moment? How can you stand up for what's right even when it's hard? Thanks for joining me on this moving journey through the Bible. Until next time, stay strong and take care.